She unplugged my ventilator to charge her phone, but somebody also disabled the backup battery fails. How do you accidentally shut off every safety system before leaving someone asleep and defenseless?
The alarm exploded through the room just as I woke up, unable to breathe. A nurse sprinted toward my bed, yelling, "Why is her machine unplugged?" I was lying in a hospital recovery room with a ventilator mask half hanging off my face, my chest locking tighter every second while staff scrambled around me. My older sister Lilian had been the only person there watching me while I slept. Then I looked beside the bed. My life support machine had been unplugged from the wall, and her phone charger was plugged into the exact outlet instead. The nurse ripped the cord back into place while another checked my oxygen levels. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands, and there was only one unread text from Lilian. I needed to charge mine. Before I could even process that message, the respiratory technician suddenly looked at the machine screen and said, "Wait, somebody disabled the backup battery too." The entire room went quiet for half a second after he said that. Not the peaceful kind of quiet either. The kind where everybody suddenly realizes this wasn't just some careless mistake. The technician leaned closer to the machine screen, scrolling through settings with a frown. Battery backup was manually shut off 6 minutes before the cord was removed. I stared at him, still struggling to catch a full breath. What does that mean? He looked uncomfortable answering me. It means the machine would completely lose power once it was unplugged. A nurse muttered, "Jesus Christ." My hands started shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. Lilian knew I used that ventilator every night. She'd sat through doctor appointments with me. She'd heard nurses explain what happened if my oxygen dropped while I slept. And yet the only thing she texted me was, I needed to charge mine. The nurse asked if I wanted them to call security. Before I could answer, my mom burst into the room, still wearing her grocery store uniform from work. Her face was streaked with tears. "Emery, are you okay?" I nodded weakly, but the second she saw Lilian's charger hanging from the outlet, her expression changed. Not shocked, panicked. "She didn't mean it," Mom said immediately. "Please don't make this bigger than it already is." That hit me harder than the alarm had. Not what happened, not why would she do that, just don't report her. The technician slowly removed the charger from the wall and sealed it in a clear plastic evidence bag. That word alone made my stomach drop. Evidence. Then my mom's phone buzzed. She looked down at the screen and all the color drained from her face. I grabbed the phone from her hands. One new text from Lilian. "Tell her to stop overreacting before she ruins my life." I read the text 3 times before it actually sank in. Overreacting. My oxygen levels had crashed low enough that nurses were still monitoring my heart rhythm, and Lilian thought I was overreacting. The respiratory technician carefully disconnected the machine display and wheeled it toward the doorway. "Hospital administration is going to need this reviewed," he said quietly. Mom immediately stepped in front of him. "Does that really have to happen?" He gave her a look that made my chest tighten all over again. "Ma'am, someone tampered with medical equipment keeping your daughter breathing." Tampered. Not unplugged by accident. Not mixed up. Tampered. Mom sat down hard in the chair beside my bed and covered her face. "She's been stressed lately," she whispered. "You know how Lilian gets when she feels ignored." Ignored. I almost laughed at how insane that sounded. For months, my entire life had revolved around medications, oxygen levels, emergency appointments, and trying not to end up back in the ICU. I hadn't been stealing attention for fun. Half the time, I would have traded anything just to breathe normally again. But Lilian hated the way people looked at me now. Before I got sick, she was the loud one, the favorite, the center of every room. Then suddenly, family dinners became conversations about my lungs, my recovery, my restrictions. And Lilian never hid how much she resented it. "She thinks everyone babies you," Mom admitted quietly. A bitter memory flashed through my head instantly. 2 weeks earlier, Lilian had watched me plug in the ventilator before bed and rolled her eyes. You really need all that just to sleep? At the time, I told myself she was joking. Now I wasn't so sure. Another memory followed right behind it. Earlier that same night, she'd walked around my hospital room holding her phone at 2% battery, complaining non-stop that there weren't enough outlets. Then she pointed directly at my machine. What happens if this thing shuts off anyway? I remembered forcing a nervous laugh because I didn't like the way she asked it, and now I couldn't stop hearing the question in my head. The nurse returned holding a clipboard. Emery, we need to document exactly what happened tonight. Before I could answer, my phone started vibrating again. Another text from Lilian. You're acting like I tried to kill you. I stared at that text while hospital staff quietly moved around my room, pretending not to read over my shoulder. Not, are you okay? Not, I'm sorry. Just defense. I finally typed back, then why did you disable the backup battery? 3 dots appeared instantly, then disappeared. A minute later, Lilian called me. The second I answered, she started talking too fast. I didn't know what those switches did, Emery. I thought it was just part of the charger setup. You knew there was a warning screen, I cut in. Silence. She'd just trapped herself. Nobody could know about the warning prompts unless they'd actually clicked through them. Across the room, a nurse connected a tablet to the hallway security footage. The video showed Lilian entering my room with a dead phone in her hand. Minutes later, she walked back out, calmly scrolling on a fully charged screen. Then, just before the footage ended, she stopped outside my door and muttered, "Maybe now they'll finally pay attention to me." I replayed that sentence all night. Maybe now they'll finally pay attention to me. By morning, hospital risk management was interviewing me formally. One investigator explained that disabling life support equipment could lead to criminal charges, depending on intent. Mom kept begging me not to ruin Lilian's future. Then the respiratory technician returned with the machine logs. He pointed directly at the timestamps. Backup battery disabled first. Alarm muted second. Power cord removed last. My stomach dropped. That wasn't panic or stupidity. That was a sequence. The technician looked me dead in the eyes and said, someone knew exactly what they were doing.
She said she didn't know the machine worked. Then why were the backup battery and alarm shut off before unplugging it?
The final thing that broke my mother's defense of Lilian was the security footage with audio enhancement. In the recording, Lilian unplugged my ventilator, plugged in her charger, then silenced the alarm before walking out. Calmly. No panic, no hesitation. When investigators confronted her, she admitted she was angry that my illness had become everyone's whole life. She claimed she thought nurses would respond before anything serious happened, but she still disabled the backup battery first. That morning, I filed the official report, removed her from every medical contact, and banned her from visiting during treatment. Her healthcare program application was suspended during the investigation. Some relatives blamed me at first, until they saw the evidence. Weeks later, I returned home with upgraded safeguards on every machine beside my bed. That night, I plugged in my ventilator, locked the outlet cover, and blocked Lilian's number for good.
The scariest part is how fast everyone tried protecting her instead of asking why the safeguards were disabled first. How many accidents get dismissed before somebody finally doesn't wake up?